The constitutional firestorm that began with the Southern governor's rejection of centralized control has just escalated into a full-blown crisis inside the National Assembly. The headline that is currently dominating the news cycle is confirmation that the federal government is refusing to back down from its insistence on ultimate control. This new development is not just about a disagreement, it is about enshrining the power to override elected state executives into the very law that is supposed to usher in true federalism. This is the latest, most dangerous twist in the long and bitter debate over state police in December 2025. After the initial outcry from the Southern governors who demanded total autonomy following their crucial meeting in Iperu-Remo, the National Assembly, in a move seen as a compromise, rushed to finalize the State Police Constitution Alteration Bill. But that compromise, as the leaked details now confirm, is poisoned. The specific, chilling detail that has caused this new explosion of tension is the inclusion of a clause that gives the president, acting on the advice of the new National Council on State Policing, the power to suspend or completely take over a state police command. This federal intervention can be triggered under three conditions: if the governor is politically interfering, if there is a breakdown of law and order, or if the state police threatens national security. Now, if you are wondering why this is being called the Rivers Trap, the context is crucial. This clause is a direct legislative response to the political crisis we saw earlier this year in Rivers State, where the friction between the state government and federal authorities raised the real possibility of a breakdown of order and external intervention. Critics, especially those in the Southern Governors Forum, are arguing that this clause is not a safeguard, it is a weapon. They fear that the federal government, currently led by President Tinubu, could simply use the vague language of political interference to seize control of police commands in states run by opposition parties. They believe the clause ensures that every state police commissioner will ultimately answer to Abuja, making the entire state police idea a toothless and expensive facade. This latest development has intensified the nation-divided narrative. On one side, you have the Southern governors, many of whom have now quietly mobilized their legislative caucuses to fight this specific clause, arguing that if the power to remove a state police commissioner requires federal approval and the power to suspend the entire command lies with Abuja, then the governors are just chief security officers in name only. They feel completely betrayed and believe the federal government has used the desire for state police, an almost unanimous national demand, to smuggle in centralized autocratic control. On the other side, the federal government and some northern leaders are standing firm. Analysts close to the presidency argue that this clause is the only way the bill can pass. They are worried about the weaponization risk, the potential for a governor to turn a state police force into a personal, brutal militia used to rig elections or intimidate political opponents. The federal side insists that the National Council on State Policing, which would trigger the takeover, is designed to be a non-partisan body that includes representatives from all states, ensuring checks and balances. They maintain that the state police must operate within the framework of national security, not outside of it. This is the real conflict of 2025, autonomy versus accountability. The South demands autonomy to effectively combat local insecurity. The federal center demands accountability to prevent the misuse of power. But the devil is always in the details, and the detail of this suspension clause means that the federal government has created a legislative chokehold on every governor in the country. If the governors cannot remove a police chief who is underperforming and the president can remove the entire force, then where is the local control? If you are watching this and you believe that governors should have the final unchecked authority over the police in their own state because they are the ones who face the consequences of insecurity, hit that like button now. But if you are among those who fear that without this federal clause, some governors will indeed turn state police into instruments of tyranny, drop your concerns in the comment section below. We want to hear what you think about this delicate balance. And please remember to subscribe to the channel. We are dedicated to keeping you informed on this monumental constitutional battle as it unfolds in the National Assembly this week. The pressure on President Tinubu is immense. The speed at which this bill is being pushed through suggests that the presidency wants this issue resolved, and they want it resolved their way. The question is, are they willing to risk reigniting the nation-divided fire by forcing a bill through that one entire political bloc considers a legislative trap? The governors are reportedly preparing their ultimate political countermove, demanding that the funding mechanism for the state police be entirely delinked from the federal accounts, arguing that if Abuja controls the operations, then Abuja must control the funding. If that happens, the entire fiscal structure of Nigeria will be thrown into chaos. This is a story of power, control, and the future of Nigerian federalism. We will be tracking the votes, the press conferences, and the legislative maneuvering in Abuja over the next 72 hours. Stay tuned, stay informed, and let's keep the conversation going.